Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've been really sick for the sort of last 2 weeks or so, and without banging on about that too much, I was obviously stuck in bed on the sofa. You know how it goes, and being somebody that loves the outdoors, loves going for a walk in the fresh air, etc, etc, it's safe to say I get cabin fever after being in the house for a couple of days. Now in that time, because that's probably the longest stint in the last few years that I've gone without going out and taking photos and using my camera, I was absolutely desperate to get out and do just that. Now I probably could have forced myself, but that might have ended in me having to use my tripod as a pillow and take a nap on a field somewhere. So I decided to put rest and recovery as my top priority and just put the camera down, take a step away and not think about it at all. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, 2 weeks isn't actually that long to go without using your camera, right? But in that time of me being sick, it did really remind me and resonate with me why I do photography in the first place. And I think that is a really important thing for you to know for yourself. So you watching this video, it's really important for you to understand why exactly it is that you do photography. Now for me personally, going out and doing photography and taking photos in a way is an embodiment of good mental health and good physical health, because I walk for miles, I climb, I sit and I think, I take in the landscape, and it just keeps me happy and healthy. In a way, it's my version of therapy. It's my reset button on whatever is going on, good or bad, in my life. Therapy, of course, without the aspect of talking to somebody about my feelings, unless I came across another photographer or another human while I was out and got a little deep chat going with those. But for the most part, it's like silent therapy for me. I noticed very early on as a teenager, when I first picked up a camera and started taking photos, that photography was one of the few things, probably the only thing at the time, that I could do that would completely shut me off from everything that was going off in life. I would be fully immersed in it, and although good and bad thoughts could pop into my mind, they would be fleeting and disappear as quick as I would see the next bit of landscape or bit of photo opportunity or look at my camera. They would disappear as fast as they came into my mind, because I was so locked in on what I was doing and the goal for that day. I think photography is almost a hobby that sort of occupies all the possible output we can give as a human, because while I'm walking around to take photos, I'm using my body to move to destination from spot to spot. I'm using my hands to control the camera, and I'm using my mind to break down photo opportunities, spot things, notice things, and think about the settings that I'm going to use. Why am I taking this photo? And I feel like I'm occupying everything I possibly can as a human in those moments. So when I haven't done this for a while, like the past 2 weeks while I was sick, I start to get a little bit down, a little bit frustrated, cooped up, and overall just feel a little bit low. Now don't get me wrong, I can immerse myself in a DIY project at home, some decorating, I can go on a trip or spend time with friends and family, and those things keep me rolling along as well. But it's in those in-between moments where I haven't got any of those things going on and I can't get out to do photography that I really realise how much of a big role photography plays in my life to keep me ticking along and keep me sort of just keep my well-being nice and healthy, which is what all good hobbies should do, right? They should give us a sense of accomplishment, keep us busy, make us feel good, and give us a sense of a little bit of freedom and release from everyday life. So do I want to get better and better at photography as the years go by? Do I want to get wiser in my knowledge of photography? Of course I do, but I don't care about taking award-winning photographs. I don't care about having my work published in the most prestigious of publications. And these days I don't really care about anybody regarding me as a top-tier photographer, because one, I know that I'm not, and two, I know that what I get out of it for myself doing it as a hobby far outweighs any of those temporary delights they could bring. Of course those things are awesome. Would I say no to having my photos published in a really prestigious publication? Of course I wouldn't. And if Sony called me up tomorrow and said, we want you to represent our new camera that's coming out and we want you to be the face of Sony, would I say no? Of course I wouldn't, because those things are awesome in their own right. But I'm also very conscious of the fact that that is not why I do photography. That is not my long-term goal, and I have not got it written down somewhere to become a Sony ambassador. I like to believe that it's pretty apparent from my videos that I'm not trying to be the best or say that I'm the best, because I show off good days, bad days, I show off decent photos and crappy photos as well. And nothing in my YouTube channel, in my videos, or even my photography is that particularly polished and over the top and pristine. I just like to show off what catches my eye, what I find interesting, and how I like to do that. Now, there was a teenage version of myself that attached my photography to the likes and comments and the recognition, and that was actually a fast track to me going through the longest stint of not using my camera, because as soon as Instagram started declining and less photographers were active on there, the original community from the early days kind of disappeared. I kind of lost sight of why I was doing photography, because I thought it was all about getting comments, likes and recognition on social media, which it is definitely not. So when it comes to YouTube as a social media and the videos that I make about photography here on my channel, do I love teaching things and do I want to teach people things? Of course I do. I've always loved teaching, and there was a time in my life where I actually thought I wanted to become a teacher, but of course I went down a completely different route. But because I have a YouTube channel and I try to give inspiration, advice and stuff like that here in these videos, that does not mean that I believe I'm that good of a photographer that I need to have a channel because I need to be sharing my advice. It doesn't mean that I think I know more than anybody else. I just like sharing those things while I'm documenting my photography process, and if people find little nuggets of inspiration or advice in there that works for them, that's great. And if you listen to me talk about something that doesn't quite work for you, that's also fine. Everybody has their own way of working. But the moral of the story is, if you took that away, if you took YouTube away, social media away, and there was no internet, I would still be posted up somewhere on a beach, stood on a rock. It would probably be raining, and everyone else probably would have gone home because they're not stupid enough to stand at the edge of the coastline thinking about a photograph for hours on end. But I am, because that's therapy to me, that's my reset button, and that to me is recharging my batteries. And I say all of that, I go on that big rant and story to say that if you find something like that that allows you to put everything that's going off in your life to one side, forget about it and fully immerse in that particular hobby, then I advise you to hold on to it as close as possible, because it's probably one of the best, most healthy things and valuable things that you can have in your life. But for all of the actual photographers watching this video, have you asked yourself lately why it is that you do photography?